going, guys? Migmatisgolf, the channel where we give you some slightly unusual, unorthodox stuff you don't normally get from your local teaching pro. We try and be creative, and we're geared towards people that aren't getting any better with normal or conventional golf lessons. Okay, so if you're not getting any better with conventional golf lessons, this is the channel for you, because we do some weird and wacky, crazy stuff, and there might just be a little gem in there that helps you out. So I pointed at this thing. Recently, I've been working to keep my head still, especially in my backswing. So I rest my head on this thing, the bender sticks. Bender stick. I've done a review about that, so go watch that. And I've been trying, especially in the backswing, keep my head nice and still, and on the way down, keep it still and nicely behind the ball. So I've been focusing a lot on that, because when I video myself, I come out of my spine angle. It's a bit ugly. But what I discovered doing that is that for the first couple of training sessions that I worked on this, I would hit everything fat. The club would bottom out way before the ball. So it got me thinking about the relationship between your height and the release of the club, where the club releases. You know, if you go to other channels or you read a lot of golf magazines, it's often spoken about how the great players use the ground and kind of dip down a bit. You know, Tiger Woods was famous for having a big kind of dip into the ball, and a lot of critics used to say, well, that's terrible, he needs to keep his height. But I'm not so sure. Ben Hogan, probably one of the best ball strikers of all time, dipped down on the backswing and then dipped further down on the downswing. So what is the relationship? And I think the relationship is this. Your body, the human brain, there's a car arriving, the human brain, the body is really good at figuring out how to compensate. Now if you imagine that you lose a lot of height, if the club releases too early, it's going to smack into the ground. So your brain will say, don't release, and release it later when there's enough space to do so. Conversely, if you, let's say like a lot of people, lose your spine angle or gain height, then your brain automatically says to itself, well, the ball is way down there. The only way getting the club head to the ball is to extend fully. Make as long arm and shaft as possible, and by definition, you're throwing away all of your angles. So from this side on, if I was to dip down, okay, now if I just throw the angles away, I hit the ground way back in front of the ball. But my brain, if I keep turning, my brain has to hold on to them until there's space to hit the ball, then slightly into the turf, and then come up out of the turf. The opposite, as I explained, is that if you lift up, which, you know, is one of my problems, then the only way, especially if you don't come down the same amount, if you stay up, you have to release to get down to the ball. Which is why I have a theory that players that compress into the ground a lot hit it far. Players that don't hit it far. So, to me, the lesser of the two evils, ideally, I would say, to keep things simple, is use a device like this and keep your head height constant. Just keep it constant. That's the lesser of the two, well, that's the ideal let's say, the lesser of the two evils would be dipping down, and the worst case of all, which is what yours truly tends to do, I literally hit the top of the ball there, but that's an exaggeration. You lose a lot of power, in my opinion. So anyway, that's pretty much it. If you're somebody that doesn't hit it very far and you can't figure out why that you release all of your angles early, maybe, just maybe, you lift up out of your spine angle, and so your brain has to release all those angles. Try using a device like this, or focusing on there being a ceiling just above your head, so it's impossible for you, that was a terrible strike, it's impossible for you to raise up without banging your head on it. Picture that, video yourself, see how you go. Alright, give us a thumbs up if you like the video, comment if you've tried this, and tell all your friends about the channel, we'd appreciate it. Alright, see you later guys, bye.